Does your iRacing car currently look like it was sponsored by Minecraft Paint and Poor Decisions? We got
Yes,
good
it
news
does.
for that. Kobe's does. We got good news for that, though. Race Wrap Guy can fix that. With real-world NASCAR wrap design experience, Race Wrap Guy creates clean, aggressive, professional custom wraps that actually look like they belong on a Sunday broadcast instead of a back row rookie lobby. And because we like y'all, listeners of the Cool Down Lap podcast get $10 off any iRacing wrap. Just mention the podcast when you order. And if you have a real race car that needs to look fast even when it's sitting still, you'll get $100 off any real race wrap design too. Just mention this Cool Down Lap podcast. The checker flag has flown and the race is over, and we're going to rant a little bit about it. My name is RB Turner, and here with me, my co-host, say your name, Colby.
I'm Colby.
He is Colby Peterson, and we are here with last night's Amp Racing League Cup Series winner. We was at Iowa, right? Iowa. And this is Steven Laskowski. What's going on?
What's up, fellas?
You know, chilling, trying to figure out what went wrong with the rest of our nights. It seemed like you were the only person that had a good manage on the tires. Nobody else did.
I mean, Darling was right behind me. He was only about
that's
half
true.
a second to a second there at the end when I had all that lap traffic.
The funny thing was it was lap traffic blowing your doors off.
Yeah, blowing my doors off. But, well, because they blew their tires off and had to come in and pit.
I'll tell you what.
I pit at the stage, and then I pit the same lap y'all did, and made it the whole run. I think I started 24th, finished 16th. It was a good evening for me.
Well, I know that at the stage, I restarted at the stage like 12th, and the outside line didn't really get going. So I fell back to like 15th, and I'm like, man, I have got to get to the front. So I just burned my shit off, and I got to about 4th, and I was catching y'all. You know, it was about the time you had passed Metal for the lead. And all of a sudden you started driving away, and I started falling backwards. And everybody that I had worked so hard to get around was coming back because I thought there'd be another caution. Mm-hmm. But no, man, I ended up with a damn meatball, you know, because I burned my tires up.
There were a few of them, for sure.
Yeah, man, that sucked. So how much easier is it for you to save tires when you're at the front?
I mean, I didn't even race anybody. It was me racing the track only. And then maneuvered where I had to get around people or let them by. But I don't even know if it was really being in front that really did it. It was just letting off really early and really saving that right front, having a really low brake bias so you could really just kind of trail brake it down in there and hold that bottom. If you ran any higher than the bottom, you were tearing that tire up.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. A lot you could get a good run off of if you were running the top, but yeah, it was eating your stuff alive. But the reason I was bringing that up is because, you know, the difference, what I feel like the difference was I had to pass 11 cars to get to where I was, only to fall back, and then you were just, I don't know what, maybe it was your brake bias, maybe it was, you know, I don't know, the track conditions or anything, but the track was very different last night than it has been in the past.
Mm-hmm. Straight cheese grater.
Yeah, 100% cheese grater.
It was very tight.
Very tight. It's always been loose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, even after they did the repave when we ran it last season, I struggled because it was just so dang loose. And now all of a sudden it's, what in the world? What'd they do?
Well, don't they follow the tire model with what the A fixed or what the A class runs that week? So
I've heard that.
If that's true, that's a Martinsville tire that we're running at Iowa.
But Martinsville tires, if you run Martinsville, now this is just for Martinsville. Martinsville tires hold up pretty well.
Also going a lot slower.
That's true.
And you're in those
not
corners.
In the turn. You're not in the turn
you're in
there as long.
Turn a lot. And then you're going really slow in Martinsville, and then you straighten off, and then you get it. So you're not really getting that lateral wear on that front tire as you're coming
Unless you're driving Martinsville completely wrong like I do. Then you have plenty of lateral coming off the corner, but you know.
I drive Martinsville the correct way.
I do not.
I don't know if there
drive
is a
any
correct
tracks
way.
the right way, if we're being honest with it. I just drive, you know.
Yeah, there really isn't a correct way, especially when you're in a pack. Mm-hmm. You're either defending or you're trying to get a run on somebody, try and dive bomb them.
But I do notice sometimes it seems a lot easier to save the tires if you're not if you don't have to, you know, if you're not really battling anybody, if you're up there in the top 5, because that's what I was hoping for. I thought I was going to get up in the top 5. Caution's going to come out, then I'm good. All I got to do is maybe run hard for a couple laps just to try to maintain my position. And then I can just kind of even off and, whatever happens, happens.
I think a lot of people race around them, like Steven said. I don't think anybody was paying attention to what the track was doing. I mean, I think everybody would see somebody in their mirror and start going faster, or see somebody ahead of them and start going faster. And I practiced quite a bit. I don't know where the disconnect from practice to the qualifying in the race went for me. I mean, I tried all the different track variations like we talked about last week with different usages and different stuff like that, and I practiced, last week when the tire model would have been the same, and I don't know what happened there. I did notice though if you were on a similar tire strategy and stuff like that, you could almost get into some of the intermediate tracks with aero blocking and stuff. I don't know, Steven, if you felt that coming up behind people, but it felt like your car got even tighter than it already was when you were trying to just run with somebody.
Yeah, it definitely did. But a lot of people were overdriving the corners, and then they would fade up a little bit. So then it gave me all the air on the bottom, and that's where I was running the whole time. I wasn't even full gas until my wheel was almost straight. I got to the bottom, held about 50% all the way around, and then as soon as I started straightening out, I would full gas it up. And then I pretty much ran that nonstop.
Were you shifting also?
Yeah. I shifted probably the first 10 laps. I was shifting, and then I would, depends on who I was around, if I was around somebody or not, if I would use fifth or not.
Yeah, I was kind of the same. About later in the run, I kind of just stopped, just stayed in fourth because it wasn't really doing much.
I mean, if you got the good run off, you could definitely shift at start finish line throughout at least half the run.
Downshift a second later. I mean, it almost seemed kind of pointless to do that.
Kind of. It gives you that little extra boost, but if you can't get on the brakes and get the car to turn, you're going to tear your tires up by shifting and doing that little extra.
The extra push.
Yeah.
There towards the end, it started to get a little weird with the amount of people that had to pit a second time in that last run. I kind of made my bed, we all pit for the stage. I was, in the trunk as it was, and I lasted on the lead lap quite a bit longer than I realized. In the relative, it was all right, Steven and David and them are about 10 seconds back. And then it seemed like 3 laps later, I looked down and y'all were 3 seconds behind me. And I was like, oh no. But then once I stopped worrying about the relative and just kept running my laps, the gap would stay at 3 seconds. Then I would jump up to 3.5, and then I'd get excited and it would come back down to 3. And I'd be like, God damn it, will you just pay attention to your own flipping race line? Quit worrying about what's going on. They're faster than you. They're going to pass you anyway. I don't care where you had to go to pass me. I didn't miss the bottom very often unless it was intentionally to get out of somebody's way. And so, that last run, when I pit, I pit at lap 109, I think is when we all came down. You guys would have been on lap 110 in that area somewhere. And yeah, at that point, I was like, I'm going to drive as slow as I humanly possibly can without going 4 or 5 laps down trying to save tires. And it did. I mean, I ended up netting spots. When I came out of pit road, I was back in 22nd and I finished 16th. I mean, for me, that's a good day in this league.
Yeah, especially with that tire fall off to be able to save that last run, 65, 66 laps.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as people started pitting right at the pit window, as soon as it opened at 75 laps and people started pitting, I'm like, they're going to have to pit again. I'm like, because I could just tell. I mean, I knew David. I knew he was tearing up. Just by watching him, I was like, he's going to fade quick. Yeah. And he's going to end up getting that 8 ball.
He has that, he drives in the turns harder than anybody I know.
He was trying there hard.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to say, because I've told him this, and I think everybody has told him this, so I'm not afraid to say it on here. But yeah, he sometimes he scares me. If he's behind me, I've heard a couple of people say there's certain people you don't block, and he's one of them because he just drives it in so hard. But yeah, that's definitely how you tear your stuff up, though.
For sure,
he's fast. I mean, I have seen it work out for him, but he's won a couple races.
There's certain tracks that you drive aggressive, you race people, and then there's certain tracks where you just need the front, and if you don't get the front, you're going to be second, third, fourth. You ain't going to get by them. And then there's certain tracks where you cannot race anybody. Can't worry about anybody. If you practice, and then run what you practiced. Don't worry about anybody else. And that was one of them.
Experience.
Well, the first time I jumped into practice, I was like, all right, well, I practice, I run as hard as I can. My spotter came over and said, your tire's wearing at lap like 22. And I was like, oh no. It's like, I'm already at 50. Right then and there, I knew I had to change everything. Tried dropping the brake bias, just tried everything. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to just try to do some off the wall stuff. I went to like a plus 24. I took the front all the way to the top. I took the rear master cylinder all the way to the bottom. I dropped it to like 30%. I was like, let's just try this. And surprisingly enough, it actually turned the car.
Steven has done that a lot. You did that a lot in the throwback series. You just do some crazy offsets and like plus 20 or something crazy like that. And
dude, when I was,
it never works for me, man.
In the corner, if you go back and watch my stream, in the corner, I am practically straight. When I'm going down I'm like this going down the straightaway, totally crooked.
Yeah, that's insane to me. But
I was on the edge of spinning out multiple times in that run. If I was getting on somebody too quick or they got on the brakes too fast and I had to get a little bit harder, man, I just feel that thing turning on me. So it was very fine line to keep that thing from spinning out with that extreme low brake bias. I've never ran it that low ever in my life.
I didn't
I didn't either.
If you take the front to all the way up and the rear to the bottom, you can get it to like.
Are you talking about the master cylinder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the numbers. I don't remember them by heart. But yeah, you can get it down to about 20, 28, I think.
That's insane to me.
I
I ran as low as it would go.
It's definitely insane.
What I did was I just on the front and the rear, I went up 2 on both of them because I've noticed that sometimes if they're smaller, it helps you stop more. So at least from what I figured, and then I ran the brake bias as low as it would go from there, which I think was like 41. So now knowing what I know, I wish I could have ran like a 35 or something. That might have spared my right front a little bit more. Put a little more wear on the rear tires instead of the fronts.
Yeah, it definitely helped. Because I got my rear tires to actually wear. I got those things down in like to 70, 65, 70. And that was all on entry. Yeah, and that was all on entry because of how sideways I was. You just get on the brake a little bit and it turned it. And then if I realized I was a little too fast, I could just give it a little extra and it would just turn the car in the middle. And then you could just gas up and out. So anybody out there that's going to listen to this is going to get some little secrets.
Secrets from the man, Steven Laskowski.
Some short track secrets.
From, Amp Cup Series Season 2 champion, multiple winner, the only guy to legitimately beat Aaron Ryan in previous knowledge or recent memory, put it that way.
Still upset that I gave him that road course.
I still stand by what I said, even though they told me to not. But we got planned in the actually first. How about that green flag though? We had 2 cautions to race, and the rest of it was green.
And especially with all the different tire cycles, people were very kind to each other. Yeah. You could tell when somebody was coming, they knew it, and it's not like they constantly blocked them. I had a few people fight me, but. I'm also trying to put them a lap down, and they're trying not to in case the caution comes out. So I get it. Yeah. Holding me up and then letting Chris go by, easy.
Well, at the end, by the time Chris gets there, it's too late.
I had like a second and a half on him with like 10 left, and I was just paying attention to everybody coming fast, paying attention. Next thing I know, I looked down, there was like 2 laps left, and he was a half a second. I was like, shit. And then I just tried to go as hard as I could at that point.
Yeah.
Like the last couple of closing laps was pretty exciting in that sense. I told RB before we started this, it was good to have a good, clean, green race. But I told him, I said, I was watching the race back last night and fell asleep at like lap 75. I was like, holy cow. Like, what are we doing out here?
Well, that's when it got exciting. Everybody started blowing their tires up.
Well, people were blowing their tires up regardless. That didn't have any bearing on the race. And you could tell, like Steven said, you knew as soon as a dude left pit road and started setting hot laps, 2, 3, 4 laps in a row, And Jason would call it and be like, "Oh, just ran another fastest lap of the race, another fastest lap of the race." And you're like, "Okay, they're going to be running 25-second laps in the next 10 laps, and that, I think that was the main thing for me, is it was just like, I see you going faster than me. I used one of RB's famous lines. I said, "I'll see you in a couple laps." And I did. That's how I got a lot of passes. That's how I gained a majority of my spots. It wasn't like it was some wild pit strategy. I did the same thing the leaders did. And yeah, I finished a lap down, but like I gained 7 spots on the race. And that for me is a pretty big race. And I finished with 0x for the first time this season.
Yeah, I think I'm same. I think that's my first X, I believe.
Yeah. It's my second.
So, I will say there was plenty of
That's 2 weeks
times.
in a row.
There was plenty of opportunity to run people over. I mean, there was no shortage of that. Like if somebody wanted to bring out a caution at the expense of somebody else, it wouldn't have been hard to do.
Yeah, I almost brought one. I almost took out Mike Daniels. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a checkup or what, but I know I was battling Pop. I had popped in my outside, and we just went in the corner, and I just blasted I don't know how I didn't get any X's out of it, but I didn't, but he got loose and almost spun the thing. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. And I didn't even, but yeah.
Yeah, there was plenty of opportunity.
Steven almost spun it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely on the entry a couple times.
I wish you would have. Not gonna lie. Nothing against your race or anything, but man, I really wanted a caution. I wanted to get up in the top 5 and get my caution.
The one race where we could have used some cautions. We went green.
We didn't get it.
Now,
There's so much grip on the track,
The flip side of this is if you bring out a caution with 60 to go, 50 to go, like you still had plenty of opportunity to blow your tires off. I mean, there were some guys getting black flags at 40 laps, 45 laps.
Yeah.
And, like it seemed, I think the longest was ours, Steven, was the run from the stage to our pit stop longer, or was the run from the pit stop to the end longer?
It was about in the middle.
About the same.
About, I think, without me going back and looking.
Maybe 5 or 6 laps difference, one or the other.
Maybe.
Well, I know that I pitted at stage at 40 something, whatever it was, and I got my meatball at right around somewhere in there, and then I went the next 70 laps, taking it easy and making sure I didn't get that again.
I was afraid of a caution. That's why I stayed out as long as I could, try to split that
I was afraid of a caution too, but I had no choice. You get that meatball and then it stops scoring you. So.
You got 3 laps, right?
Yeah, I think it's 3 laps to come down.
Yeah, because that's at 0%.
Yeah.
See, they need to have it actually blow, so we actually go on the fence.
Yeah, man. And I want to see some cars get tore up.
As soon as you hit zeros across the board.
Did. I think Davis was in the corner and hit the fence.
Was he?
He actually did. Yeah. You see on the broadcast,
the tire didn't blow, but
you see it on the broadcast where Davis hits a meatball, and then you see him kind of just drive up into. He was the only one that did that, as far as I know. So, and it was probably just too much momentum, But
no, I mean it was a clean race. It was I don't want to call it a strategy race because of the way the fuel and the laps worked. You had plenty of fuel, kind of regardless of what you did, I feel like anyway. But the tire management thing, I don't know what's more frustrating maybe as a broadcaster versus what's more frustrating as a driver versus like a tire strategy race or a fuel strategy race. Because I feel like when you're saving fuel, you're going slower than you are when you're trying to save tire, if that makes sense.
Well, if you're trying to save fuel, there's a lot of ways to go around it. A lot of those ways is like clutching and stuff like that. So you're definitely going slower trying to save fuel.
I clutched the last 30 laps of, stage 3 in the 1100 and the Coke 600 on Saturday.
Yeah, I did some of that too.
I think I clutched 30 laps worth to save myself. I had to save 5 laps to make it. So,
see, I don't mind watching the races where the guys are blowing their tires before they need to come in for fuel. I kind of like those races because it really is driver race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you see it in NASCAR every now and then, you know.
Pocono.
Yeah. So
Darlington.
I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen it at Charlotte. I've seen it everywhere, So yeah, I mean, I like tire saving races because I like saving the tire. And if I'd have known that the race was going to go green the whole time, then I would not have done what I'd done. I would have done my normal, just kind of hang out and everybody will come to me. But like I said, I was expecting a caution, so I wanted to get up there in that top 5 as quick as I could. And
I think, to be fair, our track record was going to calls for a caution
Mm-hmm.
or 2,
Yeah.
honestly.
I think a lot of people were banking on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why a lot of them
Which
were
I think
running
also
harder.
is what allowed some of the fair, like, clean racing. Honestly, like, I don't think anybody wanted to be the guy, but they wanted to be in a proper position when it happened, right?
Yeah.
And which was interesting, you know. I mean, in the 2 cautions we did have were, I mean, you could call them racing incidents if you wanted to. I definitely am not going to sit here and say that Aaron spun out Derek on purpose. There's absolutely no way he did that, right? So, and I mean, truth be told, I don't know. We don't know if Boz wrecked Dove on purpose. Yeah, I mean, either which way, those
At the
2
end of the day,
cautions
you're
were
not in their heads,
right.
but you make it look innocent enough.
Yeah, well, and I think at the end of the day too, I mean, whether the intent was there or not, they both were innocent enough looking that you could call them both racing incidents if you really, really wanted to. You know, one guy checked up a little too much coming out of the corner to keep it straight, and the other guy didn't. You know, but it was clean. My wife told me when I hung up the headset and walked out, she goes, "Y'all are done already?" And I just kind of smiled because, you know, we've ran well after 8:30 a handful of times with our, you know, eye pacing that we've done over the last couple of, you know, last month or so. But this was a different one, man. There was a lot of give and a lot of take. And like you mentioned earlier, you're like, people would just get out of the way for the most part, right?
A few.
And I think they were getting out of the way because whether you were faster than them or not, they were like, "Oh, he's on new tires." It wasn't I'm going to race him hard because I think I should be in front of him. I think it was generally like, you know what? These guys are going fast. They must have new tires. I think I'll just move up a lane, let them have it, and live to fight another lap.
Mm-hmm.
So at least that's the way I see it.
Other than lap traffic. The ones that are trying to stay on the lead lap. I don't expect anybody to move over at that point because I won't. I mean, because like I said, if a caution comes out, you either got to be the first car a lap down or on the lead lap.
That's
so
when I lost my first lap, I was like, I'm just going to lose this. This is just a lap lost. But I tell you what, you were not passing me for nothing when we were coming to the end of that race last night. I was not going 2 laps down.
Yeah, Ethan was another one. He was racing me nice and hard, and I liked it. It was fun. It was fun to really try to work and race somebody.
Well, Ethan also had Ryan right behind you, and that was a battle for position.
Yeah.
So obviously Ryan went ahead and followed you by him.
And I had Darling chasing me down. So I was like, I need to go. I was like, I'm sorry, but I got to go.
At some point, you know, I don't know. I might have, you know, maybe punted a little bit, but at least give him a little nudge. Like, come on, dude, let's go. Either get faster or get out of the way.
He was running his line. He wasn't doing any blocking or anything. He was just running his line, and it was just hard to get around him there at the end. My tires were dying.
Yeah, I get with Ethan, but you know, there's certain guys who won't move for nothing. You know, like I won't say any names, Boz, but excuse me.
We've got into it a few times this season already. I don't know, bad blocks. I mean, if it's really bad, there's a good chance that you might get a bumper. It's just kind of how it's going to be on my end. But if you race me clean, I'm going to race you clean, and that's how it is.
That's good. I don't mean to pick on Boz. That was just fun. Love you, Boz.
I've been looking forward to talking to you again because I actually got to pass you for position on a racetrack at Texas 2 weeks ago, and God, it felt good.
I think
I don't care if your toe link was in a 45-degree angle. I do not care. I got to pass Steven for position.
I was afraid to get the meatball because of how bad my wheel was turned. Yeah. Because I got that 50%. I'm like, oh no. I was like, I gotta just slow this thing down. I was like, I can't pit. I can at least save because these guys are gonna have to pit in front of me. So I was able to at least finish on the lead lap with those guys that had to pit for gas. So I was at least happy I was able to finish on the lead lap.
2 weeks in a row there, you know, a strategy play to change position at the end. Because that's what all of us did, right, RB? I mean, once we realized we only needed 4 laps, I was like, I mean, I can lift early enough and save 4 laps, I think, you know?
Yeah, that was my whole thing, so.
Yeah, that was right at the pit window. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, at that point, you come get your tires, you get your fuel. I mean, I feel like it's every time I've tried to bank on a caution, it's burned me. So I just try to get the fuel in the tires, and if I have to run long, I have to run long. If not, well, then maybe I'll get some more tires if I got any left.
You can never judge a caution, man, because I don't know. It seems like whatever decision I decide to make, I should have made the other decision. It always works out. Like why? And then you got guys like,
do I pit?
You got guys like,
I'm not pitting. Next thing you know, everybody pits behind. Damn it.
Yeah. And then you got guys like Aaron Ryan who always just seem to make the right call, What a dick.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He's from the future.
Yeah, he must be.
Fucking
he's got a
alien
DeLorean
for sure.
somewhere. And
yeah.
He's like, well, if I do this, then I'll win the race.
Aaron, when you listen to this, we're going to need you to start sharing a couple of those secrets. You already have a residency on this show anyway. You could share a few secrets with the boys.
Don't hit the wall.
That'll help.
That's a good one.
That'll help.
That's definitely a good one. I know when we were talking about Texas, because we were just talking about Texas, and I was like, a lot of people are going to hit this wall, and man, these cars feel like they're made of glass. It's going to get wheel damage every time. Steven's fucked. I know that. I remember thinking that. And I'll tell you right to your face because I know it.
Dude, 1.5 miles, man. I don't know what it is. I always smack the wall. It's the air. It's like I'm drive the same I just did, but then the person slides in front of me, or they dime in the corner, or they slid up in front of me. Next thing you know, I didn't let off a little bit because I don't want to lose my momentum, thinking I'm gonna make it. And next thing you know,
and it's funny because you almost feel the car move that way.
Right away.
It's
insane.
As soon as that air washes, like it literally is like somebody paused time and set your car a lane higher than you had it, and it's that quick too.
Well, it's like it kind of reminds me of if you ever. I grew up on a dirt road, so if you are like kind of like making a turn and you're on like concrete or pavement or something going onto dirt, and you get this like slide up,
momentum slides you up. Yeah,
that's exactly what happens. It happened to me in the SC 1100 that Signature had. It happened in the Indy cars. We were given 2 fast repairs, and I used them both up because I hit that damn wall. And I spent the second half of the race just trying to make sure I'm not going to hit that wall. Like I'm getting out of the turn extra low just so I don't get that wall.
Oh yeah, those cars are all downforce. You take the air off. They don't.
Yeah, so what was pissing me off is I could catch Davis, but as soon as I got to him, I couldn't keep the same momentum because I couldn't keep the car on the bottom.
That was my whole problem with everybody. Probably everybody's problem with everybody.
Yeah.
Man, I really want to do the Indy one, but just Easter stuff and
I can speak for me. I'm glad you didn't.
Fun. Well, I mean, it would have been all right when he goes to a good cause.
I like them open wheels.
Selfishly, I'm glad you didn't, but yeah, for the sake of the cause, I mean, yeah, we definitely could have done with another probably 10 Indy cars and another 10 or 15 stock cars to make it a little bit more. I don't want to say chaotic, but a little bit more competitive, maybe. And even that's not the right word because there were, like in the IndyCar race, a lot of good dudes did, hit the wall, racing hard, having fun. And pretty soon it got to be there was 12 seconds from Davis to me, and then 10 seconds from me to RB, and then another 30-something seconds from RB to 4th place, and then 2 laps to 5th, and then 20 laps to 6th. Like it got to a point where it was like Davis would have had to like severely
something catastrophic was going to have to happen to Davis,
or like Jason needed to fall asleep at his monitor and smack his head on the keyboard and call a caution on accident. Like,
which I'm almost surprised he didn't do. It was pretty boring.
It was. I mean,
but I will say I was
happy. I was happy with it. I mean, it was a good result for me and stuff like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, charity races are charity races, and I don't care if you wreck out on lap 2 or finish the race in 2nd place. It's a good time either way because it's bigger than you, right? But like, I mean, it was largely a very boring race. Davis and I had a couple of good little battles here and there. And then once Davis would get 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds on me, at that point, I just started driving and making sure that RB didn't pick up any more than maybe a 10th or 2 here and there, like, because it got to a point where as long as you could manage your own pace, nobody was catching you just because there was no draft, there was no help, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And, the 600 was definitely a little bit more interesting. I think we had 15 cars. But, I mean, even that one, by the end of it, I think we only had 6 cars on the track, 7 cars maybe.
I will say this though, In the 2 races, the boys here, me and Colby, 1-2 overall finish.
Heck yeah.
The cool down lap got a lot of TV time.
We got a lot of
There you
TV
go.
time. We
Tell
didn't
you
win
what.
either race, but the overall finishes, we had the
I
best
tell you what
average
got
of
0
everybody.
TV time, RB, is when I made that pass on you on the outside on that restart. 0 TV time because we were worried about crowning a paint scheme champion.
Oh.
When I drove around 5 cars on the outside to take the lead,
Yeah.
no TV time.
Yeah. Sometimes
I was so bummed. I was so excited to watch that back,
Dude.
because I was like, dude, I
there's times
went
that
from
happens.
second to fifth. I
Mhm.
went from second to fifth on the restart because RB caught me snoozing. Okay, he played a little game just like I did to him in the Indy race and was gone, dude. And we went through turns 1 and 2, and I was in 5th place. I went into 3 and 4, wrapped the outside and passed one guy, and then we got into 1 and 2 again, and I drove the outside and held it. I was like, checkers or Jesus.
I thought about
Checkers or
blocking
Jesus.
you. I thought about blocking you, but I'm like, no, he's gonna wreck us.
I would have drove straight over you because there was no stopping. There was no lifting at that point. Like I don't know how you felt about it, but I probably had 15, 20 miles an hour on everybody on the bottom line.
It was fast.
And
he came fast.
Right around the outside, shot down the front because I had the outside momentum and drove off and led, I think, 10 or 15 laps before I screwed up and hit the wall.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've never done a full NASCAR race. I mean,
No?
I like
should
the
do it.
endurance road course races. I like those. Those intrigue me a lot. But man, I don't know about
it's a
doing
different kind of
NASCAR.
endurance to do a
Yeah.
full NASCAR race in a simulator. Just because there's so much more, I don't know if you want to call it chaos or unpredictability or maybe even strategies is the right word. I don't know. But like the Daytona 24 is really the only endurance race I've done as far as iRacing goes. And I'm also the guy that gets in at, midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when there are cars every 200 yards on the track and everybody's running the same pace. So it's not really, you're not racing anybody at that point. You're just keeping the car straight for the fast guys to finish it up. But this deal between the Indy race and the NASCAR race, it was a different kind of attrition, I feel like, than the road course endurance races because naturally they're not near as long and positions are more readily available at any given time based on mistakes or different strategies like we were saying. But I tell you this much, 200 laps at Indy and then 400 laps at Charlotte is enough to make your shoulders go numb for 2 days.
I believe it.
Like, it was
Your
rough.
legs too. If you got bad
I was
legs.
gonna say RB had a cramp.
Yeah, I started cramping up. I started cramping up about lap 330 out of 400, and I'm like, this ain't good.
Yeah, I get it.
I was battling for the lead, and then you watch, the Jason Day and Tyler Lim, they just start slowly pulling away from me, and I'm like, it's because I'm cramped. I'm like, and it didn't show me in the end car. I don't think I didn't actually watch it yet, but if you see me, I was up on my wheel, and I'm like this, trying to like kind of get my leg back going, and I'm like driving and everything. So for about 20 laps, I was dealing with that, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Jason told me to take a Midol. Like, come on, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, I let go of the steering wheel when everything was done and my hands were like permanently like this. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I had to put them down on a table and kind of stretch them, massage them back out a little bit. Like, it was rough, man. It was a bunch of fun. I think it was a good time kind of for the camaraderie side of things, hang out with a bunch of the boys and just race. Davis and I had all kinds of shit talking going back and forth during the IndyCar race. And I mean, Charlotte, I got a little bit more quiet and focused because I didn't do, like, my qualifying didn't go well. And then pretty soon I was running 14th, like on lap 3. I was like, what happened here? Like, I know how to run this racetrack. And so I immediately just went into like saving mode. I was like, I'll stay out here and there. Like, there was no reason to save tires. We had 14 sets of tires, but
Colby went on bitching about both races. I remember him saying, I hate this track. And next thing you know, he's leading the fucking thing. Like, seriously? I don't want to hear it no more.
I did a lot of bitching.
He's like, I'm going to be in last. He started second in the Indy race.
I've never ran a race at Charlotte Motor Speedway and finished all of the laps. Not even in a rookie lobby for street stocks have I run Charlotte and finished all the laps.
You did now. And it was 600 miles worth. So congratulations.
Yeah.
But anyways, what's your strategy for the All-Star race?
He's in it, so.
You're definitely in it. I'm not in it, so I can ask. I got to race my way in.
Go fast, turn left, finish
There's
first.
no setup yet. Is there a setup?
We're all gonna try to work on it this week. and get put in there.
Is there going to be like a hosted or something that Davis or somebody's going to set up? Or
I'm sure. I mean, I can always throw up some stuff too for people.
I've
Yeah.
never turned a
I
lap
was
at
just
Nashville
curious.
Fairgrounds, so
I've done it in a late model, but not a.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot
It's gonna
of
be interesting.
bumper using. I have a
I'm sure it
feeling.
will.
And I
Especially an
like that.
all-star race. Heck yeah, it
And
will be.
I like that we have 5 spots, and then we're gonna be able to do 2 and 2, and then we're doing fastest lap, so that's gonna be cool.
So get the fastest lap, Colby, and you could be in the all-star.
yep. Start last, let everybody get a half a straightaway, and then just try to set a burner.
Yeah, man.
Not a chance. I'd have been in the All-Star race last year if there wasn't a phantom caution that was caused by somebody so they could pit and get tires.
I'd have been in the all-star race last year if it wasn't for the 2 guys that beat me.
Y'all
didn't think that was funny? No, I think what was it? It was Metal won the heat race, and he made it through, and Grijalva didn't. That was when Grijalva went
Grijalva
around.
Wall Road. Yeah, you and I were in the same heat.
Yeah.
So
And David and I had 8 seconds on everybody, and all of a sudden, caution. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So
I was pissed too because David helped me with the setup for that, and he and I were like moving. Like I led a couple of laps, like we were having a good time, and we were out there. And I think there was like 12 or 10 laps to go, and caution. I didn't know there was tires available because I don't think there was supposed to be tires available. And so we just kept on cruising, and next thing I know, 2 dudes pit, and I think because it was Metal and Matt Allen were the ones that made it through. It was either Metal and Matt or Metal and Pop because Matt wrecked Pop, and that's what brought out the caution. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I remember watching Grijalva go around the wall, and I was like, I chimed up. I was like, "Is that legal?" And I think it was Colby. Or
I
something.
said, "Fuck no, it's
no,
not."
it's not legal. I was laughing. I was like, I didn't make the race, but I was laughing. Then I went and joined Signature in the booth.
I went to bed.
I mean, let's talk about the importance of possibly winning the All-Star race. I mean, look at Matt Allen. You said
15 points took him all the way to the Final Four.
They won the heat, and then he ended up winning the race. Took him all the way to the Final Four and finished second.
Mm-hmm.
Without those points, he wouldn't have made it.
Oh.
So I mean, just shows you how important every race can be.
I think Zook would have made it in the Final Four if he didn't have those extra points. Because I think Matt only beat Zook by 6 or 7 points.
Yeah, it wasn't much
for the Final Four. Yeah, no, I applaud AMP for making the All-Star race something that's worth showing up for, right? Because if there was nothing there available for anybody, then I think that your guys that are in the race probably show up and race because they know they're racing. But I think and this is just me speaking freely here, but I think for a guy like me that's not exactly the most talented on a short track, or probably not putting myself in the best position to be in the top 2 or set the fastest lap, I'm probably taking the week off and watching it from my couch, honest to God. And so I like that there's an incentive to at least try and make it, right? And then the guys that are in it, there's an incentive for it not to just be a wreck fest. You know what I mean? So I think it's a fun event. I know that Jason has a lot of fun calling all-star races because there's just there I don't want to say more storylines, but different storylines that you can use and talk about. You don't have to worry about points and who's passing who and who wrecked who. It's a fun race, but AMP has done a good job at giving everybody a reason to want to try. And I think that makes it a lot more intriguing for us as drivers.
All-star races have a way of bringing beefs my way. I remember season 2, the first All-Star race we had, and it was in the 87s and at Wilkesboro, right? And I went in the turn and I couldn't get slowed down enough, so I drifted up and I got into Zook, and apparently Zook didn't like that. A couple laps later, I think we had a caution right after that, and then when we went back green, he ended up spitting me out. So I went in the Discord after the race, and I was like, "Sorry, I got into you. Won't happen again," or something. I don't remember. And he was like, "I'm sorry for retaliating." And I'm like, "What?" I was willing to call it a racing deal. I was willing to call it a racing deal, but you just admitted to God and everybody that you did that shit on purpose. And then, but I was like, all right, whatever, you know. And then, but you know, my teammate at the time, Jeremy, who can't keep his mouth shut about anything, he starts having this big thing. You're supposed to be suspended and blah blah blah. So Zook's like, well, suspend me then, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Zook ended up messaging me, you know. It's like, we good? We're good. But that's not me. That's Jeremy. Jeremy's the one bitching at you right now. I was just like, all right, whatever. But Jeremy gets me in all this trouble, and then Davis ends up coming at me. And so, what's going on between you two? And, well, I don't fucking know. You gotta ask Jeremy. But I was like, you know, don't do it. It's a non-points race. You know, I didn't really care. You know, it just was what it was. You know, Aaron Ryan ended up winning.
I think I was about to win that race.
Yeah, I think you got taken out by
my teammate.
By your teammate. Real teammates, not on an all-star race. That's like the Bush brothers taking each other out. Then they don't talk to each other for a year. So all-star races have a way of doing things like that.
I'm still waiting for Ricky Stenhouse to do something to Kyle Busch from like 3 years ago. I wish it would.
I think Ricky Stenhouse would get his ass kicked. Be honest with you.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, that's why he hit him like he did. He knew he had to get one quick one in before something else happened, because I think Kyle Busch would beat the dog shit out of Ricky Stenhouse.
If Kyle Busch didn't do anything, Richard Childress would.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't gonna fuck with Richard Childress. I dare you.
Oh, my favorite part of that whole deal is when you can hear him like arguing through the camera, and Bush is like, "Dude, I suck just as bad as you do. Like, what are we doing out here?"
I remember that.
Yeah.
The picture of Ricky Stenhouse leaning on his hauler in gym shorts and a t-shirt, just ready to be pissed off for no reason. Come on, dude. Neither one of you were winning that race to begin with. Like, what are we actually upset about here?
He's sour because Danica left him.
Poor fella.
Danica left.
Oh, but no, man. Iowa was Iowa, because I don't know if you've ever been to Iowa. God, is it boring? And that's exactly what we had. Don't get me wrong, and everybody's gonna be like, Colby, shut the fuck up. But like it was a breath of fresh air to have a very clean green flag race.
I think if a caution would have came out in the last 50 laps, it would have been
chaos.
Yeah, I think we might have had a lot more cautions at that point.
Especially because a handful of people pit with 15 laps, 16, 17 laps to go. And like, there would have been a lot of folks a few laps down. It would have started getting really interesting on what you did. Like, I was thinking that same thing. I was like, God, I don't even know if I'd have pit. I think I'd have take the wave around just to be on the lead lap. Now there's a bunch of dudes 2 laps down.
Yeah.
They got to pass me twice in 15 laps, which means they got to run over 3 seconds faster than me.
The fall off wasn't that much. It was about 2 seconds.
About 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anybody, I probably would have had to drive a little bit harder than I wanted to, but I mean,
you'd have made it to the end.
I'd have made it to the end, and I probably would have advanced quite a few more positions compared to everybody that pit, but I also would have gotten ran over. Like, I would have been running the high line of the racetrack for 2 laps waiting for everybody to get by so I could settle into my line too, I think. But
we'll never know, will we? Because it didn't happen.
No, I came after that stage. I just planned to split it, and that's what I went for with my tires.
It's kind of where I was at.
I was planning on going as far as I could. I was going to run it out of gas. That was my original intention. But then, meatballs happened and changed my strategy. But I mean, it worked out, I guess. 7th ain't that bad, I guess. It's not a win.
I'd have been tickled pink with a 7th, so.
That's you. I like top 5s.
I'm still yet to get one of those. I was looking at, since I learned how to look at all the stats, I was like, I still have not finished in the top 5. I got a handful of top 10s, but I have not gotten a top 5 yet. So.
Man, even Russ has a top 5, dude.
I'm looking at the schedule, like Bristol, put that in the trash can. Pocono, I think if I learn how to save gas, it's doable.
I like Pocono.
Las Vegas, if you don't qualify in the top 5, you ain't finishing in the top 5. But I don't know. Milwaukee Mile, I ran well there until Steven wrecked me.
Oh, you wrecked Colby?
He was leading the race, and I was trying to get out of the way and got loose. So I caught it, and he drove right into the back of me.
Don't get loose, man.
It was my own fault. I just like
go faster.
I like casting a little shade on him. Look at him over there with that little smug face. He's like, yeah, well, if you weren't so fucking slow, you wouldn't have been in my way. But
it'd be like that sometimes.
It do be like that.
That's how I feel about Bollinger.
Really?
You should have seen the Indy race, man. I was trying to get by him, and I don't know what kind of drugs he was on at that time, because He just here I come up beside him, and he just I'm gonna turn left right in front of RB.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb. Never mind. I'm gonna get
Happened
myself
a few times in the throwback series.
It did.
That guy's something
It
else.
did.
Take your helmet off. You'll be able to see better. You might be able to think more too.
What do you think about the Daytona road course, Steven?
Me or Steven?
I really don't like that last boot, but
Are
it
we
is
going to
what it
run
is.
like the NASCAR chicane at the end
I
of it?
believe so.
I think
Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's the NASCAR boot with the last little chicane.
I'll be
We
able to
ran
find
that.
out.
We ran that in a 24 beers of Daytona in a cup car. And somehow, still not entirely sure how, I think it was because I drank enough to keep my car straight and focus on my own driving instead of everybody else around me. And I ended up finishing top 5 in that race in the Daytona, or the 24 beers of Daytona. So I have a cautious optimism about that one. But I mean, I don't know.
But that's when you're drinking, and everybody else is too.
Man, hardest part with a cup car on road courses
is weight.
Getting that lateral grip with the brakes.
The cars are too heavy for those.
Yeah, it's hard to roll them up. I'm usually changing the brakes a ton on those too, to where I'm barely touching that brake and I'm putting a bunch of brake into it.
Yeah. I'm gonna try messing with the brakes.
I'm gonna have to pick your guys' brains
future.
as we get in that. I look at the rest of the regular season, though. I mean, a couple of Bristol could be interesting. Milwaukee Mile, Martinsville. I mean, all 3 of those tracks, it seems like it's either conveyor belt or chaos.
Martinsville is usually chaos. But man, I love that track.
I like Martinsville. It don't always like me. I tend to get like the too many X's at the very end of the race. That tend to cost me a lot. So
well, especially with this 25 DQ.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that also I feel like is gonna entice people to race cleaner because man, you can rack them up quick. You get in 2 accidents that aren't your fault, that just happened in front of you, and you can't blow it up, or the person behind you didn't see it as you're trying to blow up, and then next thing you know, you got 4. Then you got another 4. Now you're at 8, like just like that, within possible 10 laps, and you're like, man, here we go.
What even you're doing, man?
Yeah.
It's just dang.
So that's where I think I already seen it. I think it's going to help. I already seen, and everybody's getting used to racing each other. You start to understand like the newer guys, how they race.
That's one of the things we talked about with you when you won Richmond. I think the new guys with the regulars is really starting to settle in. I think we've been able to pick up on, we've had enough of the different tracks that we're going to run that I think we're able to pick up on tendencies, and so we kind of know what we're in for.
Yeah, for sure. Make a list.
What's that?
You make a list.
Oh, yeah.
You know who to watch out for, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's going to cut your nose off at that last second. Going in turn 1.
That list is still filled with people that are normally majority regular. Like the new guys aren't doing that a whole bunch. I don't know. We'll see. Couple of fun tracks. Talladega in the middle of all of it, the week before Memorial Day.
I'll miss that one.
Are you gonna be gone?
Oh no!
You heard it here first, folks. Opportunity for a win.
That's drafting track. That's open for anybody to win that race.
Fun fact: that's where I led my first laps in AMP. Was at Talladega.
Yeah, no, I'll miss that one. I'll be going to Sonic Temple for 4-day hard rock music festival down in Columbus.
Hell yeah!
Me and my wife go every year.
I-O.
That's how smart people are in Ohio are. They need 2 people to spell the
2 people to spell the state in 4 letters.
How do you spell your state? I don't know. I usually have somebody here to help me.
Isn't it?
I'm from Ohio, so I can say that.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I'm the neighbor.
Where are you out of again? Pennsylvania?
Yep, right up on the lake.
Cool. That Western PA vibe's got to be different, eh?
Yeah, we get all the seasons.
Yeah.
A lot of farms, a lot of grapes.
A lot of Amish.
Yeah, we got Amish.
We had a lot of Amish where I'm from, too.
A little bit more south, more towards the country, but not really in Erie.
I used to pull into Walmart and roll over horse shit every single time.
Oh, yeah. I deliver to them all the time. They get a bunch of packages constantly.
Really?
Yeah, down in Spartansburg, PA. It's pretty much.
You'd think they wouldn't do that, but they do.
I mean, the DG has the horse stalls for them to tie up their horses at like all the stores in town.
I used to go to a auction that the Amish used to have. They used to auction off like furniture and stuff. I used to go there all the time.
That's where I got my puppy, was from an Amish family.
Really?
Yeah, my blue healer. I was searching and I just really wanted one, but I didn't want one necessarily that had to be papered. I really didn't need those papers. I didn't want to spend $13, $14, $1,500. So we were just looking, and finally one popped up, and I was like, oh, Amish family. Oh, we're driving 6 hours. Let's go.
Talk a little bit about Wraithlines. Where are they out of? What exactly is their business model? Because I've seen like all the paint schemes and stuff. Super sick looking paint schemes, by the way. Really enjoy them. I think it's a really crisp paint scheme. But why don't you give them some flowers? Not necessarily a shout out, but like I really would like to understand more of what they do. The branding itself catches an interest for me, just the way it looks. I'm 6'3" and 300 pounds. I am not a skater by any stretch of the imagination at all. But the branding itself, the appearance of the brand, I think is really well done.
Yeah, I agree. There isn't really a huge market in this area for skateboards. I mean, there's a few shops, but there's not really a ton. So Muscarella was trying to get into that atmosphere. He has even pulled in some skaters and gave them sponsors, sent them their own boards. He has like a sponsored board for a guy. I don't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he's trying to grow as much as possible, just mainly skateboards. I know he might want to grow it into more, but I know he's focusing just mainly on skateboards right now. And there are some really nice looking designs if you like that gothy dark look.
Yeah. No, I think
I like that kind of look.
Right.
Yeah, I thought I did a pretty good job with that paint job.
Yeah. The paint job looks great. Fantastic.
Good old training paint special in ChatGPT. It was hard to line up those, like try to get like the trees to line up, the moon, and try to like not make it look like it was just picture and a picture and a picture.
Right.
You know, it was kind of hard to blend them, but I made it work.
Oh, I think it looks great.
I'm definitely not as good as the sim wrap guy. He just made me a nice Apex wrap, and it's nice.
I got one in the
you gonna
works with
debut
him
that?
right now too.
All-Star Race, I'll run it.
I got one in the works with him right now too, and I'm so excited to see what he comes up with.
Yeah, he was like, well, so what do you want? Like, what do you got? I was like, you know my logo. Just put the AM stuff on it. Do it. He's like, I trust you. Just make me something dang.
Yeah. I told him today, I was like, hey, I double checked the price with him, and he was like, yep, but don't pay me until it's over with. And I was like, I mean, okay, but I'd rather just send you the money because whatever you send me is going to be 1 billion times better than what I can do. Right. So
that's how I felt.
Like, I'm not going to argue with you about it. Like, if you don't like it, odds are I'm still going to think it's the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like, just let me pay you, please. So
I'm the same way there. If I do something like that for people, don't pay me till I'm done. All right, because if I take your money, then it's my money. All right, if you don't like your product, then now you're screwed. Mad at me. So
did you get your $20 from Dove yet?
I can't do it to him.
Nah.
He had a pretty good excuse to not run it. So
all right. I was really looking forward to a story.
No story. I didn't even bring it up. So, but I will say that if you ever ask for another one, then well, all right. Well, this one's gonna cost you $20. So just in case some stupid shit happens.
I made one last season.
You made Dove one?
Yeah, I pieced them one together.
He's something else, man. Because he keeps coming. Hey, RB, you want to make me a paint scheme? I'm like, not really.
Man, I was bored. I was having trouble racing too much because I was one-handed. So I was just.
Was that before your surgery? Last season, the majority was before your surgery, right?
It was. I believe it was after. Possibly. Don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he wanted me to paint him an Indy car for the SC 1100. Indy cars are the worst. I hate painting Indy cars. There's just too many pieces and parts, and this goes here and that goes. What the fuck is this? And then
So I feel the same way painting GT3 cars. Like, you put it somewhere.
GT3 is a walk in the park compared to an Indy car is.
Dude, like the first one I did was a Ford Mustang, and I put a logo on the spoiler, and it was on the bottom and upside down. I was like, what?
I mean, that happens sometimes. Yeah, those are things you just got to check. I do that. I do that every single time. I do that every single time with the dirt late models. I don't know why, but every time because I always want to put like my name or something on the back of the spoiler of a dirt late model, and I always put it upside down for some reason.
Or it's on the inside.
or it's
yeah.
on
Not
the
the
other
back.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn it.
Like the
But it's
shadow
an easy
piece,
fix.
like the shadow piece of the windshield banner on an ARCA car
Yeah.
that shows up, but you can't put anything on it.
No.
You can put something in there, but it's not on the inside of the car when you race it.
Nope. It's just Menards.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's just Indy cars are the worst. So you know, painting it for him and then for him not to show up pissed me the fuck off. You know, I will say that, but I will say, well, Dove was in the hospital and you know he spent a few days in there, so he almost didn't race last night. I think he was supposed to be a starting park actually, but he ended up racing the whole thing for some reason. Which is why he was on those painkillers that I know he chimed up and mentioned that he was on.
Say sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on painkillers.
He sounded half asleep.
He probably was. But yeah, so I'm like, you know, I'm not going to do it. But if he asks for another one, then I'm going to charge his ass.
Got to.
So yeah, yeah. Just because of the hell that I went through trying to paint his fucking Indy car that he's not going to run.
I need to paint a super formula.
Are you back to work yet, Steven, or are you still doing the physical therapy and stuff?
Still in physical therapy, probably back the end of April.
Are you able to, last time we talked, you weren't able to hold like something like a tennis ball, like you weren't like really able to grip it or whatever. Are we progressing here?
Oh yeah, I'm a lot further.
He's ready to fight now.
We're up to like 35-pound boxes, carrying around the physical therapy area. Going upstairs.
That does seem to be an integral part of your job.
Yeah, I set him down, stand up, over, pick it back up. We're doing like everything that I would be doing in my truck, pretty much.
Hate physical therapy, man.
Dude, I had this crack. It was like one of those like deep, like I don't know, like hollow sounding ones, and I had a little bit of movement, and I like scared the living shit out of me. I was like, oh no. I was like, something just happened to it. I'm like, I don't want to go through this again. Asked my therapist. She's like, oh, it's probably just some scar tissue. She's like, was there any pain? I was like, no. And it actually feels a lot better. She was like, yeah, you probably needed that for a while. I was like, oh, I need more. And it's been cracking a bunch. I know 3 hours at Sebring. After that, it was popping a bunch, but it handled it really well. I had really no issues after the 3 hours.
Well, that's good.
Rough outing at Sebring for you boys. What went wrong?
Too many X's, hit the wall a few times. It's tough when we had a full field of GT3s. We were towards the bottom of the splits with the four of us. I think it equaled out to be like a 1200 strength of field. No GTPs, which I was pretty bummed about, but you just never know. Their unpredictability. The track got really hot. It was like 116 during midday. Paz lost it at one point. Pretty much everybody had their own little thing. I ended up nicking the wall on my last stint, and I could have gained 2 spots, but I had to save fuel. And then I nicked the wall, kind of put my wheel a little crooked, so I just had to ease it home. But my goal was to be under 10x for 3 hours, and I think I only had 7.
Nice.
So I hit my personal goal. I didn't hit the team goal, but I'm practicing a lot for our next one. It's going to be a survival mode.
Which one's that, Nürburgring?
Yeah, 24 hours of the ring. No lights.
Whew.
There's no lights on that track.
It's the full course too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the combo with the Grand Prix section. 16.4 miles, 120 turns, I think.
Aaron was like, I'm having a hard time learning 75, like turn 75 through 80. And I was like, excuse me? Like, are you talking like after 17 or 18 laps, like 80 turns? He goes, no, there's like 100 and something turns on the track, and 75 through 80 is kicking my ass in the dark. And I'm like, I was thinking about joining that one with y'all, but I think I'll respectfully sit this one out.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
What do you say, a 9-minute lap? Something like that?
Yeah, I ran a 8:35, I think, and I actually had a clean lap. So I actually got a best time put up on my full timer there. So I can actually track stuff. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, without a driving line. I mean, I've driven the track a lot back in Gran Turismo days, but ever since iRacing, I haven't. So it's just kind of getting it back. And then once I learn the track and have it kind of memorized, then I'm going to just run it at nighttime.
It's probably pretty smart.
Which so many corners look alike. So if you're not like mentally there, you're going to think you're on turn 60, but you're on 75, which is second gear to third gear. Next thing you know, you're sliding into the wall because there's not room to screw up there.
That's my problem with any other road course that we go to with, 15 turns. And I forget, is this turn 12 or is it turn 7? Sometimes. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like going to, something with 100 and something turns.
That was me with the throwback series when we went to Daytona. I kept blowing through that last boot because we just ran the 24 hours of Daytona and I was in a GTP just flying down that backstretch, not slowing down. So it took me a while to not do that.
I know. Yeah. And the throwback, I didn't know that dang thing existed. That just come up and what is that? Am I supposed to turn there? Apparently I was supposed to turn there.
And it's like the tightest turn of the entire track.
Yeah, it is. It's literally the worst corner on the entire track.
With the biggest curbs.
And then Signature comes in and is like, you're welcome. Fuck you guys.
There are certain road courses that I've done enough now and I'm in a handful of different cars. Like, I'll tell you, like, when you run the IMSA setup at Watkins Glen with the boot, like, that still confuses me a little bit. I don't understand how exactly you end up back in like that same, like the last two corners are the same, but you go and you run this whole other deal. But like the NASCAR layout for Watkins Glen, like I don't get too confused. Sonoma's another one that like I spent so long racing it on Heat 4 in the old configuration that now that you race it in the new one, like when you get to the top of the hill, I'm used to, kind of that 180 degree kind of, it almost seems like a double apex corner back down the hill.
Yeah.
I'm not like going all the way to that last right hand, like that 90-degree right hander, and then down, and then all the way down that chute. It kind of confuses me still. But then there's places like the Chicago Street Course and like even Long Beach. Like I've been to Long Beach enough and raced Long Beach enough that like I know where the corners are. Now I'm just learning how to actually brake and utilize those corners. So
yeah. And
have you ran on St. Pete at all?
No, I have not.
That's a fun little track. I enjoy that one.
It looks very bumpy.
It is very bumpy. It's not as bumpy as Sebring, but it's bumpy.
Yeah, Sebring's very bumpy. Very bumpy. My wheels shake them a lot.
What as far as like those endurance races and even just the comparison or whatever, like you can't draw a comparison from Daytona to Sebring. Is Sebring just that much more technical that it's actually a challenge for a lot of guys? Or was it the lack of the multi-class? Because in my opinion, the multi-class stuff tends to separate the GT3 field out more, learning how to deal with the traffic and the faster cars, right? So was it more of just the technical 3 3.75 mile track compared to Daytona, or was it the lack of multi-class racing to separate things out a little bit more for you guys?
I think it was a combination of it all. I mean, that first stint, I mean, it was so clogged. So many people. Yeah. I mean, Zook had trouble with people. Somebody dove right in front of him and hit his brakes, and he had no choice but to hit his brakes, and he spun out because of it. And then we got crushed in because of that. So right there, I mean, that's a combination of too many GT3s and just the start of an endurance race and in a lower split.
Right.
That, I mean, I wish we could have been in a higher split just because you can get away from some of that I've noticed in these endurance races. And then in the middle, it was the heat. The heat was getting people because your setup is good for start, finish, but it gets hairy in the middle. So there's a lot of those high speed corners where you got to barely get on them brakes to blow it up, and just a little too much, you're just sliding away.
Slide right off.
Yeah. So it is technical because it's so flat and bumpy. You got to learn the bumps, especially on that last corner. There's a bump right on the inside, and then there's a bump kind of like 3/4 of the way out. You kind of had to get in between those to get a good run because it's a straightaway. So then you lose a ton of time there.
There was a couple of LMP2s that really struggled in like the actual Sebring 12-hour with those exact problems.
Good. Dark red, boy.
Well, with that being said, how about you give your shout outs and we let you get the hell out of here?
Yeah, give a shout out to you guys for doing this, man. This is good. I'm glad you guys do it. And I'm glad that we're able to put on races to be able to have enough to talk about and be able to do this. Without Rafe Lines, I won't have those cool paint schemes. So we got to give a shout out to him and get out there. It's a website. It's simple. Check them out. And always my family. Without them, couldn't do this. It's repetitive, but I'll probably say it every time. And that's about it.
I mean, I coattail off of everybody every week without Valerie and the kids kind of allowing me to do this, and not even just the podcast, but the sim racing. I mean, I was kind of picking on Valerie on Saturday night after we finished the 1100. She sat down and was kind of watching a few things back, and she goes, "When you told me you had a race today, I didn't think you were going to be racing for like 8 hours. Like we had 40 minutes in between the end of the Indy race and the start of practice for Charlotte."
Minor detail.
Yeah, I might have left that one out. I don't know, dude.
I got a race today.
I said, "Yeah, I got a race,
all
honey.
day.
I got a race." And I was loading into Indy, and she pulled up Signature's broadcast, and she goes, "How many laps?" I was like,
A lot.
Just holding the steering wheel, like flinching, like waiting for the flip flop to come from the living room straight into my head. And but no, man, I do the same thing every week without my wife and without the kids letting me do this kind of stuff and being patient with it. It wouldn't be as much fun, and it'd be an awful lot harder to do. They make it easy on me, which is nice, and I appreciate that about them. Give them their flowers. Appreciate RB. I tell everybody every week he does all the hard stuff. I do absolutely nothing but sit here and run my mouth, which, if you ask my mother, I've been good at since the day I was born. RB does all the hard stuff. He cuts this stuff. He edits it. He puts it out. He creates the studio room for us to be able to jump in here. So I really appreciate RB and everything he does for us. Again, without him, this does not exist at all. I'm not smart enough for this shit. Shout out Black Creek Diesel, Stuff at Burgers. Appreciate them being on board with me this season. Be on board with AMP as well. Just good people taking care of other people. And last but not least, shout out to you, Steven. I know I tell you to go fuck yourself every time I talk to you, but you really are a salt of the earth guy, and we appreciate you giving us your time. It's always a lot of fun to visit with you and get your perspectives. Especially for me as a guy that doesn't have a top 5. RB's planning on top 5s. I'm planning on top 15s. So that's exciting for me. It's always good to get your perspective. And I take a lot of things that like you and Aaron say, and RB and a couple of the other guys that are up there consistently. I take a lot of stuff you guys say and I try to do it. Obviously it takes time to figure out how to do it as well as y'all do. But, like I saved gas and saved some tires on Saturday, and RB would have been proud of me. I saved tires last night. Like things are changing in that sense of learning how to back up the corner, focus more on the drive off than the drive in, carrying momentum and stuff like that. And it's helped a lot. And, once I can learn how to put a fast lap down and stay out of the hornet's nest and stay in front of some of the debacles that happen, good things will start to happen. And they did this weekend. I had a couple of good finishes this weekend, enough to be proud of. And, it's a lot of fun. Shout out to Signature for putting that 1100 on. That was a lot of fun. Some sponsor stuff for the DAV or some charity stuff for the DAV. A veteran-driven program takes care of people, and always a good time. So I appreciate him putting that on, and that's all I got, RB.
Well, y'all ready for my ad break?
Yep, I'm so excited I'm muting my own mic.
Okay, does your iRacing car look like it's currently sponsored by a Minecraft paint and pour decisions? Colby's does. Sorry, Colby. We do have good news for that, though. Race Wrap Guy can fix it. He has real-world NASCAR racing design experience. Race Wrap Guy creates clean, aggressive, professional custom race wraps that actually look like they belong on a Sunday broadcast instead of the back row of a rookie lobby. And because we like y'all, listeners of the Cool Down Lap can get $10 off any iRacing wrap. All you gotta do is just mention the podcast when you order. And if you got a real race car that needs to look fast, even when it's sitting still, you'll get $100 off any real race car wrap design as well. Same deal. All you gotta do is mention the Cool Down Lap podcast. So stop showing up to the grid looking like a yard sale sign and check out Steven's right there. Man, that is about as slick as it gets. Let Race Wrap Guy design you a car that looks like it belongs on the grid.
You're getting better. You're getting better.
I'm starting to. I read it a couple of times, and then he's going to be like, all right, deal's off.
Man, shout out Race Wrap Guy. Appreciate him on board. Hell yeah, brother.
All right. Well, aside from that, thank you to everybody out there listening. Thank you to Steven for being here. We wouldn't have really much of a show without you. Still got to figure out what we're going to do next week. We could have a whole party in here. I don't really care. So, but I'll figure something out. Thank you to everybody out there listening. Thank you to Steven. Thank you, Colby, for being in here running your mouth, because I don't know what to say most of the time. I was not born with that gift that you have. But yeah. I guess we'll see y'all next week. I don't know who's gonna be here.
Maybe you
Stay
should get your
tuned.
sponsor.
I mean,
Get your sponsor to jump in here.
Maybe
Talk a little
we
rap.
could get little
Little
Chris
rap talk.
Darling come in here and talk about his stuff. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, we got some options, and we'll figure something out. But anyways, we'll see y'all next week.